everyone. What a glorious day this is. It seems like it was just yesterday that we were here with the flag raising for the beginning of Cape Verdean Recognition Week, and now it's the weekend and we're still into it. Today is a special day as we honor and acknowledge the PAIGCV Women Warriors,
yes,
and Mrs. Marie Cabral. Yes, please. We will begin our official ceremony this afternoon by the singing of the national anthem by Councilor Shane Burgo.
Sandra.
That's a treat.
Back for an encore performance.
Let's hope it goes as well. The American flag over here. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please continue standing for the singing of the Cape Verdean National Anthem by Sandra Bell.
Canta, irmão, canta, meu irmão, que liberdade é hino, e homem é certeza. Com dignidade, terra semente, no pó da ilha nua, e nos abraça de mares e ventos, perseverante entre estrelas do tamanho de mar, que nos abraça, sentinela de mares e ventos, perseverante entre a estrela e o Atlântico, tão cântica da liberdade. Canta, irmão, canta, meu irmão, que liberdade é hino, e homem é certeza.
Thank you, Sandra. Both beautiful renditions. Many of our officials are here today at the state and local level, and they are here to welcome you all, but to begin an official welcoming, we must first begin with the leader of our great city. Please welcome our Mayor, Jon Mitchell.
All right, well, Todd. So, who's gonna need a nap after this week? Yeah, it's been a great week. It has been one event after another, and we've really lucked out with the weather. And I just want to say it's happened again and again. It's happened at the flag raising, it happened at the scholarship event the other day at the Whaling Museum. I heard about Cisco last night here today. The crowds this year are bigger for Cabo Verde Week, Cape Verde Recognition Week, and I'm sure the parade is just going to be just teeming with people on Saturday to culminate it all. In fact, we have more events still next week, so it's almost like Cape Verdean half month now as opposed to a week, because we can't squeeze everything in just 1 week. But it's really exciting for me as we sort of reflect on it, because it's really a reminder for me and for so many of the, not just all of the major contributions that Cape Verdeans have made to the city and to our country, in politics, and business, and arts, and the military, and so many to count, but also just the tremendous energy that our Cape Verdean community brings to the city. And that counts for a lot. It is as much as all of this week is an expression of love for all things Cape Verdean. It is also an expression of all things Cape Verde and New Bedford, and the connection to New Bedford and the special place that this city holds in the history of the Cape Verdean people. This is the Ellis Island of the Cape Verdean community in America. This is the place where it all began, and where all those contributions emanated from. And it's a place, it is a place that continues to benefit from all the energy and hard work and activity that our Cape Verdean community offers up. So it's just really exciting to be part of it. We're here for a little more inspiration. We had bonus inspiration this week with the arrival of the visit of Marie Cabral. And we are so pleased today to have her with us. She's been here before, of course, but she needs no introduction. And she is here in some respects to remind everybody of the legacy of her late husband, Amilcar Cabral, whose stature has become legendary in the anti-colonial movement in Africa and really worldwide. Just someone, an example of just tremendous, comprehensive leadership at a very difficult time in the history of both Cape Verde as well as Guinea, Bissau, right? Shaking off the yoke of colonialism was no mean feat, and it was something that he led so ably and with such passion and determination and righteousness. And it's a great example for all of us today who might be faced with collective tasks that are far less daunting than that. And so he continues to inspire today. But it's not just his inspiration that we celebrate today. It's her celebration. Who has carried that torch for the last half century, and who has contributed not only to her nation's thriving in the last 50 years, or the many nations that she's associated with, but also for the cause of recognizing the contributions of women in the anti-colonial movement, but also women's place in society today. She's a big deal. Let me just put it in plain English. Clap for that. We here in the United States are going about a reassessing of our history, especially in the last few years, and that reassessment is not confined to the United States. It's something that's going around the world, and it's appropriate, and sometimes dismissed in some circles, but we, from time to time, have to look back on our history, our collective history, and say, Do we have it right? Is what we understand, the received wisdom of history, accurate? Is it on the mark? Is it fair? Right? Is it a fair assessment? And I think one of the big things, that points today that we all have to sort of come to terms with, and it's something that she has been preaching over the years and to a broader and broader audience, is that in both the anti-colonial movement as well as the development of much of the world in the last 50 years, and really since the Second World War, women played a huge and unheralded part in it all. I mean, just think about it, especially in the context of Cape Verde's independence movement, and as well as in Guinea-Bissau and many other parts of the world. Women were directly involved in guerrilla combat. Just that is a fact. Women were there in all-encompassing wars over the last half century, supporting their families still, but also advancing the movement. And that's what she was involved in, very directly. And so that is a reality that I think we all have to sort of recognize as being part of our history, part of Cape Verdean history, part of the world's history. And it's a great example for all of us to sort of step back and say, you know what, we really do need to think about these things differently. Aiding in that work have been the likes of Jeannie Costa, who herself is just such a great job bringing those stories to the forefront.
Thank you.
And everybody, the entire committee that made this possible today. And Marcy and everybody, the entire committee, all of you guys, thank you for those efforts. So we can, and I'll just say today, we do take inspiration. We're edified by the example. We're a little smarter today because we're taking through Marie Cabral's example, taking a harder look at our history, Cape Verde's history, and so we deepen our understanding, but we also move forward with greater inspiration, to hold ourselves to higher standards, and to continue to work on making ours a more perfect union. So I just want to say to Mrs. Cabral, thank you for being here today. Your presence is very, very important. And I think I speak on behalf of all the elected officials today that we really appreciate the effort, and we hope you have a wonderful week here in the heart of Cape Verde in America. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mayor Mitchell. Continuing on with remarks from our elected officials, we will now hear from Senator Mark Montigny.
Thank you, Marcy. I'm going to honor Mrs. Cabral with my brevity. How many of you believe that? I've spoken too many times to this audience, but I'll do my best. That doesn't count as part of my time. So, I have a lot to say, and when I look at the agenda, it says Montigny 3 minutes, which I've probably never done in my life, but I'm going to do my best. So I'm going to, because my time is limited, I'm going to stick to talking only about human rights and women. Is that okay? Yeah. I know my audience. I grew up in New Bedford, and I know what strong Cape Verdean women are all about, because I had friends, in some cases, who had very, very strong, traditional nuclear families. I had some who relied on one person, and it was almost always the strength of a Cape Verdean woman. So I grew up understanding fully why mom and grandma were so important. And why I say that today is I think about my time in Cape Verde. I visited twice now, and I've said this to many of you. When I was a child, we had 4 and my mom and dad. It was just not financially feasible for us to leave the country, and we never did. I think we did camp one time just over the border in Canada so we could see Niagara Falls. But then I took it upon myself to study culture, particularly through the eyes of the human rights struggle. And in those years since I was old enough to travel independently, I've been to almost 90 countries. That means I've seen and lived culture firsthand. And I say to my friends that have never been to Cape Verde and live in New Bedford, of Cape Verdean descent, there is not a more beautiful country in the world, and I know the world. I want to say, in a relatively long conclusion, as I honor Mrs. Cabral, that I honor every one of the committee members on behalf of those that I represent in this city and the surrounding towns. Jean, you've been wonderful. I was on the phone with you this morning, Jeannie, and what I was struck by is if I were talking to a man about organizing an event like this and a week like this, it would be anxiety and stress and complaining. And I thought I was talking to someone on her way to a barbecue, Jeannie Costa. And the same Marcy, calmer than we are at this podium, and Marilyn and so many others that are my friends. I want just to honor all of you, and I didn't intend to do this because we haven't even had the meeting on the substance, but Mrs. Cabral and Jeannie and I and Celia are going to get together to talk about this project. Really, what do women warriors need to make sure that the young generation of women warriors here and in Cape Verde understand that this civil and human rights struggle is not only not over, but I'm deeply troubled with the backstrokes. Deeply troubled with the backstrokes. As I said, I look at the world, even my own community that I love, differently because I've seen so much of the world, which means I've seen suffering. And when you see directly and listen to people in Cape Verde, you realize that that independence was fought by women and the story was never told. I grew up thinking, Mrs. Cabral, I knew that it was an honor for you to be married to a great revolutionary who's known throughout history. But what I didn't know until I took the time to read is how great your life has been as a woman, not just as a wife. Thank you for honoring us with that greatness. So I'm going to close. We have this funny thing in America. We're always afraid to apologize about history. I don't understand that. I listened to the president of Cape Verde at the Whaling Museum the other night, and I found, I listened to, he was intellectual and articulate, but he was honest and humble. And I'm thinking about, why is it so hard to say that we're sorry? And I even look at Cape Verdean independence, and we're in a unique place in New Bedford. Think about where we are, where we celebrate the immigration from Portugal and Cape Verde, and we elected officials know exactly where our bread is buttered. We know exactly who our constituents are. What a unique place that the colonial power and those that, through a revolt and revolution, cast off that colonial power. And somehow we all live together and we all work it out and celebrate our history. So I'm going to close by saying this. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm excited about it. And if you haven't already gotten money, I'm committing right now to this project to help fund telling, for one simple reason, at a time when we're removing books from the library, and not this library, thank God, we're a bit enlightened here in New Bedford and in Massachusetts, but around the country, it's ironic that those that are suggesting that we are corrupting history have lived with an inaccurate history. And if they were honorable and truthful, they would revise history in a truthful sense, and that would tell a lot different story of Cape Verdean independence, including the flaws that this country made in that independence quest. So that's why I think as a people, we need to not be afraid to say the truth. And now I close, and I'm sorry I violated my first promise. But I'm going to give you money to make up for it. Thank you all. Have fun. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Senator Montigny, for your words and for your sponsorship. Amen to that. Continuing with our public officials, the next speaker is a friend, has always been a friend to the Cape Verdean community, my friend and yours, Representative Antonio Cabral.
Well, good afternoon. Bem-vindo to New Bedford. Welcome to New Bedford, Mrs. Cabral. I should actually say Ana Maria Cabral. And this is a very special day for us here in New Bedford and New Massachusetts. Receiving Ana Maria Cabral here is really a big deal, like the mayor said. It is a big deal. And a big thank you obviously goes to the committee, the Warriors, the Women Warriors Committee here, and Jeannie in particular. She's been talking to me and talking to Dean in my office for over a year on this visit to make sure it went right, to make sure we planned an honorable way to recognize Ana Maria Cabral here in New Bedford and in Massachusetts. We will have the honor of receiving Ana Maria Cabral also at the State House on the 6th of... As Senator Montigny said and the mayor said, this is really about celebrating the legacy of Ana Maria Cabral, but the legacy of all the women that were involved in the liberation movement. If you've been doing some reading on that movement, it's amazing that at some point 50% of that movement was made up by women and 50% by men. Okay? Not only in Cape Verde and Guinea-Bissau, but also here in New Bedford, also here in Massachusetts, and our neighboring state in Rhode Island as well. There's some women warriors. And the fight goes on. The fight doesn't end today. The fight goes on. There are many, many things that we need to do and work together to make sure the women are recognized and the legacy of Ana Maria Cabral is also recognized. It's important also to remember, and that's been one of her lifelong work, is to make sure that her husband and his legacy, Amilcar Cabral, is also known to the young people in Cabo Verde, the young people in Guinea-Bissau, and to all of us throughout the world, and for those of us here in New Bedford, and the Cape Verdean youth in New Bedford. I think we got to make sure that they understand and they learn and they know the struggle, they know the fight, and they know what needs to be still accomplished and done. And I think if we are able to communicate that, and that I think the community, the Cape Verdean American community, and New Bedford as a whole will be an even better place for all of us. It is already a beautiful place, and the Cape Verdean American community makes a big part of that, big part of who we are today. But we can do better, and we should do better. And I want to thank Ana Maria Cabral for actually accepting this invitation by the Women Warriors and being here with us, celebrating the Cape Verdean Independence Day here in New Bedford. She will be at the parade tomorrow, and I'm sure she's going to get quite a hero's welcome during that whole parade route, and she deserves that. And all of you deserve that, and all the women warriors deserve that. So to me, I am really excited. First, excited to meet for the first time Ana Maria Cabral and get to know all her work and her legacy and the legacy of Amilcar Cabral, which quite frankly, I knew his legacy, but not so much the women that were involved in the liberation movement. Today, I think all of us are richer because of her and her work and the women's warriors' work here in New Bedford and in Massachusetts and neighbor. Let's give a little credit to Rhode Island as well, okay? I know Mrs. Cabral is going to visit Rhode Island. She's going to go to East Providence and other communities in Rhode Island, which they also participated. There are also women warriors there as well as part of this movement. So from my heart, and on behalf of those that I represent, thank you very much for coming and being with us and celebrating this wonderful week and Independence Day here with us, and to be the conduit for us to get to know not only you better and your legacy and the Amilcar Cabral's legacy, but all the women warriors and those who fought for independence of Cabo Verde and Guinea-Bissau, or Guinea-Bissau, to give it a nice Portuguese pronunciation. Guinea Bissau. Right? Well, thank you very much to all of you. Jeannie, thank you very much for all the work that Jeannie has done. And, I want to thank also Dini in my office. She's done a lot of legwork on this to making sure that, and, we got to make sure that we follow exactly what Jeannie says. She's very organized, and she knows what needs to be done and how she wants this to be done. And that's really important, though, to be a dignified event, not only here today, but throughout the week and throughout the visit of Ana Maria Cabral. So thank you to all of you. Obrigado.
Thank you, Representative Cabral. Continuing on, I just want to say, behind every great man and behind every great male leader is a good woman. And I want to say thank you to our men today for acknowledging our value and our worth. We appreciate that. Now, continuing on, we're going to hear from our women on the program, beginning with Councilor Naomi Carney, who is a councilor at large, but also is of Cape Verdean descent. Councilor Carney.
Thank you, everybody. It's wonderful to see everybody that came out to honor Mrs. Maria Cabral. And I want to thank also, once again, because you can't thank them enough, the group, the Women's Warrior group that brought Mrs. Cabral over. Thank you, Jeannie. Jeannie Costa has been an icon in my life for I can't tell you how long. She has been an inspiration to me. During my political career, she's been behind me 100%. So I know what she has for fight in her system. She does have the fight. And thank you so much for doing that for all of us here in New Bedford. And thank you, Marcy. Marcy's right there, helping everybody out and leading the band. So it's an honor and a privilege for me to stand before you to honor a great woman, a woman warrior, somebody that stood up for her husband, stood beside him, fought for the independence of Cabo Verde and Guinea-Bissau, fought that struggle. And women, we know throughout our lives we have been struggling, and the struggle's not over. It's just not over, and it's not over till we still stay together and fight the good fight, because we know that we have a lot of fight in us. And we're going to persevere. We will persevere. And all we do is have to, when we're feeling we're defeated, take a look at Ana Maria Cabral, think of her legacy, what she left to us, and what we can leave to our children. I came from a strong family and a strong mother who had us fight. And if anybody that knows Edith knows that she was out there fighting for every cause that was out there. She belonged to every committee, did everything, and she fought hard, and she instilled that on her children, especially this one. That's why I chose the road I did with the politics and fighting for everybody here, not only the women, but also the men. And like Marcy said, thank you, men, for standing beside your woman, because we need you. It is a good strength to have a good man behind a better woman. So without further ado, I have something from our city council, but I'd like to introduce our city councilors. If you'd like to come up and stand behind me, that would be great. We have Councilor at Large, Brian Gong. Council President, Linda Morad. Council from Ward 4, and we were in his ward, Derek Baptiste, the one and only. Councilor from Ward 5, Scott Lima. And our infamous and our famous singer, Sean Burgo, Councilor at Large. Sean, I did that. Actually, when I talk about singing, I was thinking about my son is right. See that? Shane Burgo. Thank you all. And Mrs. Cabral, I want to thank you, and this is for you. The New Bedford City Council official resolution, be it hereby known to all, the City Council of New Bedford, Massachusetts hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Mrs. Ana Maria Cabral and the PAICV and the PAIGC Women's Warriors in recognition of your courageous service during the struggle for independence of Cabo Verde and Guinea-Bissau. The entire citizenry extends its very best wishes on this memorial occasion and expresses a hope for your continued good fortune. Given this day, June 30th, 2023, by myself, Naomi R.A. Carney, City Councilor, President Linda Morad, and given by the entire body who signed this resolution. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Naomi. We're going to try to move things along because it is getting very hot out here. Now we get to the heart of the program. This program would not exist today without the leadership of Jean Costa. And you all know Jeannie like I know Jeannie. And when Jeannie gives you an assignment and tells you you're going to do something, you don't tell her no. So that's why I'm here. Jeannie, I think you all know her very well. She's a writer, she's an actor, she's a community organizer. She's a mother, she's a friend, she's an educator, she's all of that. And we thank her for bringing about this historic occasion today. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands and your heart together to welcome our own Jeannie Costa.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for being here, especially you, the folks that are sitting in the sun. I'm going to try to make this quick because I sympathize with you. But anyhow, I want to welcome for this extraordinary woman, Mrs. Ana Maria Cabral, and welcome her to the city of New Bedford. And also take the time to recognize and honor the women warriors from Cabo Verde and Guinea-Bissau. Thank you, Mayor Mitchell, Representative Cabral, Senator Montigny, the city councilors, and all your staff. We really appreciate it. And first, I also want to recognize my wonderful committee, and I want them all to stand. Okay, we got Adonis Ferreira here, we got Sandra Bell, Susan Saunders, Deborah Ferreira, Dr. Amina Pilgrim, and these are the people who have been behind me working with this. And also, we have our partners in the community, the Cape Verdean Association, the Women's Fund, the Cape Verde, Eva Brito, where is she? I didn't see her over there. Oh, she's in the shade. No one. She was sitting over here. All right, Eva, thank you. And the Cape Verdean Association, the Recognition Committee, the Parade Committee, Diane and their group, the Women's Fund, like I said, and Marilyn Halter, and Celia's Boutique, and the Baker, and Izzy's, and all these different groups, mourners, they've all, Eden Soar standing right over there. He did our posters. There's so many of you right here. Her family came out. Everybody here helped put this together. So all of you here supporting that, you're all part of that, and thank you. And most importantly is Nadira. And I always get her name and she keeps correcting me. I love you and thank you for being here. This is Amilcar and Mrs. Cabral's daughter, right here. Yes. And before you leave this week, I'm gonna say the name right because I keep switching it over. But thank you. I'd also like all of you right now to please take a moment of silence to honor the women warriors who are not here today, including two great women warriors, one who brought the arts and taught the technique of batik and webbing to Cabo Verde, and that's Mrs. Bella Duarte, who just passed away not too long ago. who is from San Vicente. And also, just yesterday, Mrs. Virginia Gonsalves, who was our leader in the Cabo Verde community in Rhode Island. So please just let us take a moment of silence to recognize these women. Thank you. So a little background on Mrs. Cabral. Ana Maria Vos de Sá Cabral was born in Canchungo, is I'm saying it right? Good. Guinea, Bissau, and has lived in Praia, the capital of the Republic of Cabo Verde, since 1984. Her parents was Raul de Sá and Maria Alice Borrell de Vos. Mrs. Cabral was educated in Angola and Portugal. She graduated with a degree in philosophy in the former Democratic Republic of Czechoslovakia. Ana Maria Cabral met Amilcar Cabral in Portugal in the 1950s during the awakening of consciousness and became more acquainted with Amilcar Cabral in 1966. They later married in 1972, a year before he was assassinated. Her career and employment began in 1966 through 1973 as a teacher in Escola Pilot, the pilot school, and the PAIGCV headquarters in Conakry. After the assassination of her husband, Amilcar Cabral, in 1973, Miss Ana Maria Cabral served as the deputy of the new nation of Guinea-Bissau and the director of Ministry of Culture in Guinea-Bissau from 1974 to 1980. In 1980 through 1984, Mrs. Ana Maria Cabral was the ambassador from Guinea-Bissau and Cabo Verde, and from August 1984 to 2005, Mrs. Cabral was the diplomat at the Ministries of Foreign Affairs from Cabo Verde. Mrs. Cabral is also a founding member of the Amilcar Cabral Foundation in Cabo Verde, a place that you should visit when you go to Cape Verde. Mrs. Cabral, as I said, has 2 children, a son from her first marriage named Raul Cabral de Sá, and of course her daughter Nadira. I get it right that time. Danira! I said, okay, you're gonna scold me when we get back at the house, that's fine, I get it. So, just briefly and in conclusion, I met Mrs. Cabral in the 70s, and I was actually with Vanessa Brito's mom, Lena Brito, another woman warrior from our side of the ocean. And I am so proud of that day and happy that I was truly amazed and in awe when I stood beside this woman right here. In her statue, she was so humble, she was so sweet, I was amazed at the work that her and these other women did at the time. I had no idea to the role that they played, and I kept learning through the years, and I kept saying, why aren't we hearing about them? Why aren't they being talked about? This is how this came about today, because we had a mission, and I'm glad we're fulfilling that mission this week. Mrs. Ana Maria Cabral, our friend, our sister, and warrior woman, is an inspiration to many, then and now. Please stand and welcome our sister friend and woman warrior, Mrs. Ana Maria Cabral.
I must, with so much words, so beautiful words, I must say something. So, Mr. President Jon Mitchell,
Honorable Mayor Jon Mitchell,
Excellencies, representantes da Organização das Mulheres Guerreiras do PAIGC,
honorable members of the PAIGC,
Excelência, povo da cidade de New Bedford,
so honorable members of the PAIGC Women Warriors Organization, honorable people of the city of New Bedford,
distintos convidados.
distinguished guests,
Antes de mais, gostaria de agradecer o acolhimento caloroso que me foi dado a mim e à minha filha.
First of all, I would like to thank you for the warm welcome given to me and my daughter.
Desde que chegamos a esta linda cidade de New Bedford,
Since we arrived in this beautiful city of New Bedford,
especial agradecimento e endereço à nossa irmã Jane Costa por nos oferecer a sua residência para nos instalarmos.
a special thank you goes out to our sister Jeannie Costa for offering us her home during our stay.
Venho por este meio louvar esta brilhante iniciativa de reconhecer o papel das mulheres na nossa luta da libertação.
I hereby commend this brilliant initiative to recognize the role of women in our liberation struggle.
O papel desempenhado por estas grandes mulheres merece ser reconhecido e louvado.
The role played by these great women deserves to be recognized and praised.
Este louvor é estendido a todos os combatentes que lutaram pela independência da Guiné e de Cabo Verde.
This praise is extended to all the combatants who fought for the independence of Guinea and Cabo Verde,
E também aos outros países africanos.
and also for other African countries.
Jamais esquecerei o convite que me foi feito para estar aqui hoje, né?
I will never forget this invitation that has made it possible for me to be here today.
Muito obrigada à comunidade cabo-verdiana
A huge thank you to the Cape Verdean community
ao reconhecer que houve quem sacrificou a sua vida
for recognizing that there were those who sacrificed their lives
para que houvesse a nacionalidade cabo-verdiana
for Cape Verdean nationality to exist,
e por reconhecer o papel das mulheres na luta de libertação.
and for recognizing the role of women in the liberation struggle,
Algo que na maior parte das vezes fica esquecido.
something that for most of the time is forgotten.
Thank you very much.
I can't think of a better way to punctuate what we've experienced today and what we're all feeling than to end with a poetic, an original poem by Deborah Ferreira. Oh,
Hello, everyone. I know it's sunny and hot, but this is a momentous occasion. I can't believe the honor that I have to be here with Mrs. Marie Cabral. We're one of the committee members, and we made it happen. It's so exciting. Thank you all for coming out. So for me, I did write this poem especially for this occasion, and it's a poem that's in English and also in Cabo Verdean Creole, because I'm from Cabo Verde. I was born in San Vicente, Cabo Verde, and grew up in Bedford, Massachusetts, so I'm back. The prodigal daughter has returned, right? So I love New Bedford. Grew up in the front, right? United Front, that's where I'm from. Those are my roots. And proud to represent the front, that's what's up. If you want the translation of the English portions or the Cape Verdean portions, we have a Facebook page, and I'm going to put the translation there, so feel free to do that. But my poem, and you're going to see, it's honoring Mrs. Marie Cabral, but it's also talking about the critical moment that we're in right now. The affirmative action laws have just been overturned by the Supreme Court, which is a conservative Supreme Court. And what that means is that we're already students of color are the ones that have less admittance in higher education, in college and universities. And now guess what's going to happen with the rollback of the affirmative action regulations? That means less students are going to be in college, which means that less students will be able to take care of their family, their children, society, and community. So we know exactly what's happening here. And so it's a call to action. We all need to, rise up and really think about what's going on so that you can stop these things from occurring. But let me go because I know that obviously the sun and everyone's hot. So this is the poem that I wrote for Women Warriors, Mrs. Ana Maria Cabral. Sankofa, you must return to the past to know the future. Spirit of our ancestors, take us back, take us back, take us back. To a time when Cabo Verde and Guinea-Bissau were not free. Africans sold on an auction block, their bodies inspected like chattel, our families desecrated, our women raped and assaulted, running away into the mountains to fight another day. Colonialism stripping us of who we are, learning Portuguese history before learning about our own history. Adopting the Portuguese language as the official language. Nunca é colonialismo, nunca é racismo, nunca é sexismo, nunca é violência. Our countries fought for liberty, for freedom under an oppressive system. Our men joined the fight and our women did the same, leaving their families, their children, their lives for a hope of a better tomorrow. Mulheres arriscassem vida para libertar-nos Cabo Verde e Guiné-Bissau. Este foi enfermeira, guerreira, espiã, lutadoras. Ana Maria Cabral and all women warriors, we thank you for your sacrifices. We thank you for what you did for all families. Os outros passar fome, os outros olhar violência contra as outras companheiras, mas nunca os outros desistir. Because of your contributions, Cabo Verde and Guinea can be their own countries. Os outros lágrimas foi moda chuva a regar nos terras secas. Os outros lágrimas fazer nos renascer, moda fênix. Os outros construir Cabo Verde, Guiné mais forte. Even though you did not receive any credit or honor for what you did it for your people, for your country. You embodied the South African word Ubuntu. I am because we are therefore I am. No one is free unless we are all free. Injustice to one is injustice to all. Today you are no longer hidden figures. You are the heroines that we talk about. Our kids will know your names. Ana Maria Cabral, Paula Forte, Zezinha Chant, Lily Calboal, Isaura Gomes, Maria Ilídia, Doris Silveira, Elizabeth Reis, Carmen Maria da Araújo Pereira, Ernestina Titinia Sila, Francisca Pereira, and many, many others. Know their names. That's what I'm talking about. Tell your daughters, tell all about who they are. Zot identidade africana, identidade cabo-verdiana, identidade quinhense, zot é raiz de nossa terra, nossa cultura, nossa tradição, nossa história. Today we are still fighting racism, sexism, police brutality, the injustice system, inequity within our healthcare system and within our educational institutions. Fighting to stop the U.S. from becoming more fascist and white supremacist by the minute. Nonetheless, with the stories of these women warriors in my mind, we have renewed energy to fight for our rights. I am heartened and confident that we will succeed in making this world safer, more socially equitable and loving. A luta continua, a luta continua, a luta continua.
Thank you, my sister, for bringing that fire in your words. We are not done yet. I am going to ask Mayor Mitchell to come back to the podium. He has a special presentation to make to Mrs. Cabral.
All right, everyone, I have something here for Mrs. Cabral, and it says this. I'll show it to everybody, but it says here that we present you this in appreciation of the sacrifices for the independence of Guinea-Bissau and Cabo Verde. And this is to Ana Maria Cabral and the PAIGC Woman Warriors. We hope, Mrs. Cabral, that you accept this tribute from us, this heartfelt tribute from us, and hope that it is a reminder of your time here in New Bedford, and this is really our way of just saying thank you for your inspiration. That does it, Marcy, right? That does it. Thank you so much to all the organizers for such a terrific tribute. And we'll see you tomorrow in the parade room. Drink water in the meantime.